elections in Rongai led to suppression of voter. I have provided the data on Rongai. The voter turnout of Rongai was 61.41 for the presidential. It is higher than in Joro. It is higher than in Naivasha. And it's comparatively similar to the other similar constituencies. To the allegation that there was voter suppression in those places because of the election that was postponed, that allegation is untrue, falls flat on the data we have provided. To the other question, whether the postponed elections in the MCA ward for Nyaki West led to voter suppression, the voter turnout for Nyaki West was 64.32. If you look at North Imenti, it was even lower. It's comparatively similar to the other we have provided. To that allegation, that falls flat on the data than the comparative data we have provided. To the allegation that the MCA ward in Kwanjenga, that there was voter suppression because of that, the MCA ward in Kwanjenga, the voter turnout was 46.32, comparatively similar to Embakasi South, which is 49.62, comparatively similar to Imara Daima and also in Pipeline. To that allegation, when you look at the comparative data, it's not a matter of hypothesis, it is not borne out by the data. To the allegation that the postponed elections in Kakamega led to voter suppression in terms of the petitioners' votes being undercast, the allegation falls flat on the comparative data. We have provided the data for Vihiga, which is similar. Bungoma was a bit higher, but Vihiga is the same. So comparatively, when you look at those data points, that allegation falls flat. To the allegation that in Mombasa, there was a voter suppression because of the election that was won, I want to point out, even in 2017, the general voter turnout in Mombasa is generally very low. That data is available. It's always lower than the other constituencies. But comparatively, it is almost something that is comparable. To those, so I have answered. So to the question that the court put out on the comparative data, the answer is there was no voter suppression in those places. Senior Counsel Kamau Karori has already explained on the reasons why those elections was not held. There was nothing premeditated about those elections, not holding those elections. Reasons have been given in the affidavits of the chairman Wafula Chebukati and Marjan Hussein Marjan. So to that allegation, we want to show the court the petitioners have a hypothesis. We have provided the data to the court to actually aid the court to come to a conclusion. The second question I want to answer that the court put out to us was whether there are unexplainable discrepancies between the votes cast for the presidential candidates and other elective posts. Indeed, if there was unexplainable discrepancies, is a grave issue, which we know. We will show through the data that we have provided to the court that the same is not true. In fact, we can account for each ballot. To just guide the court, refer to the affidavit of Moses Ledama Sunkuli, which is on record. We have provided the comparative analysis. In fact, what I did is we provided the 34C, the 37C, 38C, and 39C. Those are the forms for the governor, the senator, and the women rep. We tallied against the presidential. I want to refer the court to paragraph 36 of Moses Ledama's affidavit for the court to look at it. And if you do a tally, and we started with a tally for Senate, if you do a tally for the votes that were cast for the Senate, vis-a-vis, and that, Your Ladyship, that runs from page 13 of Ledama's affidavit up to page 15. And I just did the summary analysis, but there's a very big comparative table that I've put out there. If you do the analysis, you will come to the following conclusion. What is the voter difference between the senator and the presidential? 500 votes. The variance. And how do we account for those variance? So when you do the presidential like for like and the senator, you will get a difference of 22,801. You have to minus diaspora voters, which only vote for the presidential. You have to minus prisons, which only vote in the presidential elections. Okay? And then you have to look at stations which were affected and did not have any results for any of those elective posts. For example, in some of the stations, some few stations, some violence happened. Likely they did not report for Senate. When you do that analysis, you will get the differential is 500 votes. I have done an elaborate analysis also on the stray ballots. When we get to that, I will explain. So the differential between the Senate and the presidential is 500 votes. And that 500 votes we can account for in stray ballots. I have attached the polling day diaries for Kibra and Makadara. I have done an analysis to actually check what is the stray ballot per constituency. And this tally is like for like. So to the question whether there was a discrepancy between the presidential and the Senate vote, the answer is an emphatic no. It is explainable by looking at what the information that we have provided. To the second question, whether there was a discrepancy between the women member of National Assembly for the women rep as compared to the presidential, I will tell the court to look at page 18, page 17 and 18 of Moses Ledama's affidavit. And our answer is there is no much difference. And the differences can be accounted for. The variance analysis we have provided. To the question whether there was a discrepancy between governor and presidential, we have also explained that there's no such variance. Petitioners have been talking of variance of 800,000, 900,000. There's no such variance. And in fact, the small variance that you will see for the women rep, which is 9,419, can be explained for by the stray ballots. A small analysis we did for the stray ballots, Your Lordship, is that in Kebra constituency alone, we did a stray ballot analysis, and it's shown there. So to explain, and this is how we understood the court to mean the duty of the Iebc is to explain each ballot cast and track that ballot to see where it has gone. So once we do the analysis for the presidential and we remove the prison voters, once we remove the people who voted for diaspora, once we removed some of the small polling stations that did not report for any of those seats, you will see a small variance. So we thought the court will ask where that small variance is coming from. And so what I did is we went to sample one of the constituencies in Nairobi. And in one of the constituencies, Kibra constituency, we got 405 stray ballots. So you can't account for the way it will work is it will take from any of those ballots small incremental numbers. So you will see a variance of 500 here, 200 here, but cumulatively it is not something that cannot be explained. And I have attached all the polling day diaries. In fact, if you look at the Form 34A, which was supplied to the court, some of the comments section will indicate that they found some stray ballot in the presidential ballot. But to the court, whether there is discrepancy between the senatorial, governor, and the women rep seats as compared to the presidential, there is none. We have demonstrated that with data. And even when there's a small variance, we have shown the stray ballots that cumulatively over those 3 seats, that will be there. A question was, a submission was made by learned counsel Ms. Julie Soweto that there is 33 per polling station stray ballots in Kirinyaga. I will explain that. I don't know what numbers they are using. It's an old litigation strategy in numbers for shock and awe. I think what they are trying to, if you look at the numbers for Kirinyaga, there's no difference between presidential and the governor of 22,000. In fact, the variance is 900 votes, which can be explained for by the stray ballots. The number they have indicated for governor, I don't know where they have gotten it from, is not what is in our 37C, and we've indicated that in our submission and also in our presentation. So to the question that the court asked, that whether there are inexplainable discrepancies between the votes cast for presidential as against the governor, for presidential as against the women rep, for presidential as against the Senate, the same is not borne out by the data that we have provided to the court. Now I'll go to another issue which was made heavy weather of by learned councils on the voter turnout. Justice Muki Wanjala asked, how important is the voter turnout to the actual valid votes and to the actual declarations? Of course, it's an important issue. The only problem with it is that council are not understanding how we calculate voter turnout. And I want to explain to the court how voter turnout calculation is done using the kits. Pursuant to the Maina Kiai case, the court was very emphatic that elections must be conducted at the polling stations. And pursuant to that, voter turnout reporting is done per polling station. So how do we do it?